Oh, you know what it is. Good morning, everyone. Time for First Take. I'm Molly Karam. Stephen A. is off today. And as always, here with Skip Bayless. And we have two all-pro wide receivers with us. This is about to be good. Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson. Thank you guys so much for being with us. It's going to be fun.
It's really good to be here. It's really good to be here for you. I love you. It's really, I have to say.
You still love me after all these years?
I love you. Nothing's going to change. What you say never bothers me.
Yeah.
And I've always continued to love you, and it's just really good to be here again. Like, seriously.
Good.
I have missed you, and Terrell won't believe it, but I've actually missed him on the show.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With that, thank you guys again. Let's get right into it. Terrell, in your first year of eligibility, you were not elected into Canton. Now, your all-time ranks, let's get into this. Second in receiving yards, third in receiving TDs, and sixth in receptions. Pretty impressive. Looks like Hall of Fame numbers to me. Why do you think you didn't get into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think number one, I mean, the guy to my right, I think he has a big part in really a lot of negative criticism of me, and I really have attacked my character in a sense. I think for me, the Hall of Fame numbers, I think they speak for themselves. I think the process is flawed. You think about the guys like Skip, a lot of detractors out there, naysayer pundits, and people that really don't know me on a personal level. But again, now we have social media. We have a platform to really speak and really let people in and shed light on really what's the real instead of hearsay and anonymous sources. And so I'm looking forward to today because I manage by the facts. I don't go by a lot of hearsay and things of that nature. And I think that's what a lot of beat writers and journalists, that's what they do.
Your thoughts?
Hall of Fame is based on accolades and stats and numbers that you contribute in between the white lines. Character, personal issues that people might have with the individual should not be factored in when it comes to making the Hall of Fame. His numbers speak for themselves. He's a first ballot, period, hands down. Now, for whatever reason, there's always a waiting game that has to be played. There's always a waiting game that has to be played.
In large part for wide receivers, for reasons I can't really explain.
I can tell you, you have to be a certain way. You have to conform and be a certain way your entire career. Conform to the way they feel you should have been, the way you should have played, and it's easy to get in.
And by the way, it took Chris Carter 6 times to get in. Marvin Harrison got in the other day on his 3rd try, and I could go on and on by how many have been made to wait, including the great Lynn Swann. Just for the record.
But my stats are better than those.
Way better. There's no doubt.
So what is your point when making that?
All right. You guys done? You good with your opening statements?
I love you.
Okay. I love you too. To Terrell's opening point, I do not have a Hall of Fame vote. I know some of the voters from the old days, but trust me, I have not spoken to any of those voters in probably 10 years. There are 46 of them. So I don't have any internal influence in that committee at all that votes upon your election into the Hall of Fame. I have been a critic of yours. Let me preface my argument against you as a first ballot Hall of Famer by saying, even yesterday, my man Nelly texted me, and he said, you know what? You're being too hard on this man, T.O. And I thought about it last night because my man Stephen A. Smith, and we do miss him today, feels 10 times more strongly than Nelly does that I have been unfair and too hard on Terrell Owens. So I've soul searched about it, and maybe they do have some points. And obviously, if I just glance at your numbers, you are a no doubt, no-brainer first ballot Hall of Famer. And if I could create a Hall of Fame for the most entertaining players in the history of the National Football League, and I was the director, you would be my 2 first enshrinees, both of you. You would be no ballot Hall of Famers for me as entertainers on the field. You are both incredibly creative and clever and courageous in your celebrations and your skits and daring to go places no one had ever gone before. And I congratulate you both. Trust me, from my heart, I appreciate what you both did in those respects. But I have been extremely consistent in my stance over the last, 8 years since you ended badly in 2008 in Dallas with the Cowboys, that you're not a first ballot Hall of Famer because, in my humble estimation, after doing all of my homework and covering the first team that you played for, that you played a very large part in internally tearing apart 3 very good teams by attacking publicly and feuding with the head coaches of all 3 teams, the coordinators or position coaches of all 3 teams, and the quarterbacks of 2 of those teams, but you had an issue with your 3rd quarterback and his favorite target, Jason Witten, in Dallas. And we can go through blow by blow all those things that happened. We can walk back through it and go back and forth about it. But to me, I go back to what Bill Polian said the day before this election happened on Saturday. Bill Polian, the Hall of Fame executive who works for ESPN, I have had my issues with him on this show. But he said, as he pushed for his guy, Marvin Harrison, from his Indy days to get in ahead of you, Bill Polian said that the Hall of Fame ought to be for people who made their teams better. I believe, Terrell, that you helped ultimately make all 3 of those teams a little worse by internally tearing them apart. Yeah, I'm going to make my case. We can go team by team if you want to.
Absolutely.
All right?
Where do we start?
Okay, well, so to me, I've always said this about you. As high IQ a player as I was ever around, but you have an alter ego. You had one called T.O. And I believe that you fell prey to your alter ego, or just your ego, T.O., and that you and Chad both were more me players than we players. Just quick points of order before we go blow by blow back through the teams. I have always said that Michael Irvin was the most valuable receiver who ever played. More valuable to me than Jerry Rice. Because Michael, and I covered his teams, he was the leader of teams that should have won 4 straight Super Bowls and almost won 4, but did win 3. Michael Irvin was the rocket fuel of those teams. Not Troy Aikman, not Emmitt Smith. The guy everybody looked up to was Michael Irvin. This man had no off-field incidents at all in your career. Am I right about that? You were as clean as a whistle off the field. Michael Irvin was, oh, Lord have mercy, he had trouble off the field, he had demons off the field, but when it was time to play football, he was a wee guy. I've campaigned for years until finally Charles Haley got in. I had all kinds of personal battles with Charles Haley in my day. He had battles with management that were just flat out disgusting in San Francisco. He had demons away from the field. But Charles Haley was rocket fuel. He was a wee guy for those Dallas Cowboy and San Francisco teams, and he won 5 Super Bowl rings. To me, both of you were more me, more self-promoter, more solo acts than you were team guys. And ultimately, it dragged down the teams that you played for. So, Terrell, should we go back to San Francisco? You want to go ahead? You want to jump in? You're welcome. We got time.
I dragged down the team I played for. When I got there, we were down.
You were?
And I think I elevated us.
Okay.
To a point of consistency, almost. I helped with that. And notoriety.
Yeah, well, definitely notoriety. Okay. But notoriety only translates into winning to me. It's right. Disqualified unless you win.
You said I was a me guy, but I played on a team, which is we.
Okay.
I did my job to the best of my abilities, week in and week out, adding a little flavor and flair to it to make it fun for a city that had been dead for a long time.
Do you think you distracted your team occasionally because you got into things where...
I didn't distract my team from anything. What I did was I went out there, had fun, and entertain. People pay $75 a ticket.
They do.
And I told you, you'd
be in my Entertainers Hall of Fame.
Week in and week out, but I did my job when it came time to play football.
Okay, let's go back to Terrell. San Francisco. Did you not have some issues with Steve Mariucci?
Oh, I already got that written down.
Okay, do it.
So, my thing is, you talk about Michael Irvin. He was a rocket fuel for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
He was a wee guy. Guess what? He had a coach that could handle Michael Irvin on and off the field.
Okay.
I had Mariucci.
That's true. And?
He was a rah-rah college coach. He was really kind of segued into a team that was already made. Mariucci and I didn't get along.
You did not?
From the standpoint of the Dallas Star incident, when he came out and said that he didn't see me go to the Star, when 75,000, whatever.
You went twice to the Star.
He said he didn't see it.
Okay.
Then he got medially pressured to suspend me. The league didn't suspend me, but he did because of everything that was swirling around. It was such a magnified moment that he had no choice but to try to make an example out of me. So from that point along, I lost respect for him in that regard. And then on top of it, there were things that during that time, I could write a book with some of the stuff that went on in that locker room. But on the flip side of that, there was a situation where we all get fined for being late, whatever the case may be. I don't drink. I come to practice hard. I play hard. There's a situation where if you get fined, then you either take the fine or he gives us an option to buy the team lunch. There's this particular situation. I was late. He didn't ask me why, what happened. Anything could have happened.
Still Mariucci we're talking about.
Right, Mariucci.
Okay. Yeah.
He wasn't concerned about my well-being, but Jeff Garcia had come in late. There's a number of things. He gave him an option. He gave other players options.
That's fair.
So I came in late. He didn't give me that option. He just maxed me with the fine. I went upstairs and I'm like, I'm not paying this fine. The only way that I got out of that fine, because I knew it was unfair, I went to Bill Walsh and explained to him exactly what happened. Bill Walsh knew that was unfair. I didn't have to pay the fine.
And Bill Walsh was always a big supporter of yours.
He was. He knew that it was unfair. So for whatever reason, Mariucci didn't like me. He thought I was a bigger.
I'll buy that.
Bigger than the team, which I didn't. I've always been a we guy. Whether you believe that or not depends on who you ask.
Okay. All right, so when I first covered that team, you probably won't remember this, but when I was first in the Bay Area, I publicly supported you until 6 or 8 of your teammates pulled me aside and said, how can you stand behind this guy publicly? He's a cancer for our team. I kept hearing, I don't like that word,
There's
cancer.
53 to 65 others.
I got it. And by the way,
so that speaks volumes.
And by the way, the players who came up to me were both black and white, just for the record, okay?
Well, okay, well, I like to manage by the facts. So, I mean, if you're going to say something, attach some names to it. Don't give me hearsay or anonymous sources.
All right, that's fair.
I have some clips here from Bryant Young right here that defended me my time in San Francisco. Here's a quote. I have mood swings. That's part of the game. We're all emotional, and we want to win. That comes out sometimes. I had no problem with T.O. whatsoever. Personally, I never had a problem with him. That's from...
I know a lot of players who didn't have a problem with you, and a whole lot who did have a huge problem with you.
They probably
you
didn't
tended
even
to
matter.
split teams, to polarize. You were a force of nature in locker rooms and huddles. You were.
I was a force on the field, and that's
you
all
were.
that should have
I
mattered.
agree, and that's what I would tell when I first fought with the other players. I would say, this man plays with rage on the football field. This man plays every play like it's the last play of his life.
So what was the problem?
Okay, the problem was, so you lost a game in Chicago. Remember this one? Where
we were up, and Dick Geron was Mariucci's best buddy.
He was his buddy.
Exactly.
And that's after the game, you went after Mariucci to the media and said he took his foot off the gas so he wouldn't rub it in on his good buddy Dick Geron. Right.
You see how a lot of games nowadays you think you're winning the game, and you end up at the end and you lose it.
Okay, but
I don't play the game for friends and buddies.
But it always came on. Okay, go ahead.
When I'm on that football field, I don't have any friends. If me and Chad are friends off the field, if I'm going against him between the lines, that's an enemy to me.
That's how you feel?
That's an enemy to me.
You never told me that.
But when we're off the field, we're buddies. We can go get caramel macchiato and all this other stuff that you go order. But I play the game to win.
Like
that's me being a we guy.
Okay, I got it.
In this instance, that's Mariucci being an I guy.
Okay, but it always came off to me, my personal opinion, that you were blame deflecting and finger pointing so that the finger wouldn't point it at you. It was always, you didn't throw me enough balls. You dropped a lot of balls. You led the league in drops 3 times. You dropped some big balls for Mariucci's team.
Exactly. In some of those times, one of those years that I dropped a lot of balls, you and a lot of other people didn't know, I had a broken hand, a broken finger.
Okay.
If I was an I guy, I would have said that. But you didn't know. You don't know that till now.
I accept that. Now let's go to your quarterback, Jeff Garcia. He threw you 50 touchdown passes in San Francisco.
I should have had 70.
Okay, and you should have had 70. Was he an overachiever? He was. But he was a pretty great overachiever. I got to give him that because he got every ounce out of what ability he had.
Absolutely.
But you were hard on him. You campaigned for Tim Rattay, who wasn't that much better, if any, than Jeff Garcia to be the starting quarterback. You know you did, game after game. If only we had Rattay. Okay?
Why? Really, if I said that, then I was speaking for the locker room.
Okay, fair enough. But again, that's splitting a team apart.
That's not splitting a team apart. How do you figure that?
Then the Playboy interview, you took a shot at Jeff.
And guess what? I did, and I've apologized to Jeff for that.
Okay.
So again, with that.
But there we go again. Okay, and then you showed up Greg Knapp on the sidelines in Minneapolis and Minnesota.
And did not Tom Brady do that to his offensive coach?
But I thought...
Why? Why is it different?
I thought you were taking the focus off the fact that Randy Moss was showing you up on the field that day.
So why is it different when I did it?
Because
Tom Brady has done it.
There were so many of these incidents.
What difference does it make? It's an emotional game.
Okay.
He's done it to some of his own players. So that makes him better than me?
Okay,
that makes his passion. That makes his passion a little bit more than mine.
I don't see Brady do that often.
You just mentioned
he
one time.
got into it with Bill O'Brien as quarterback coach.
You just mentioned it one time.
Okay.
That was Greg Knapp.
How many tirades did you throw after games when you were upset you didn't get enough balls thrown to you?
Did we lose? Probably so. So that means I didn't get the ball enough.
Okay.
If I'm the go-to guy, I'm the playmaker on my team, then I did not get... It's just like Kobe in his prime. If they lose, he didn't get enough touches. But basketball is different because you have that liberty to take over the game.
You should have been a basketball player. I think you'd have been happier being a basketball player.
Not good.
I know, I got it. But he's pretty good. He can't play in the NBA, but he's pretty good.
He sucks at basketball.
You can't play in the NBA at 6'3".
You couldn't even play in high school. You average 1.4 points a game in high school.
So what's that have to do with this conversation?
What does that have to do with... You just brought it up.
He brought it up. Can he play in the NBA?
Not a chance.
What?
Not a chance.
Of course you would side with him.
No, but it's not about him, but you suck. Seriously.
No, I don't. What?
I don't think he sucks.
Anyway,
but
back
your
to the topic at
mentality
hand.
is basketball mentality, because in basketball you can get the ball in your hands just pretty much whenever you want it.
Exactly. And a number of my drops were due to the fact that I wanted to do so much for my team that I literally dropped the ball because of lack of concentration. But again, a number of those years that you said that I led the league in drop, you have no idea why that dropped.
Okay.
But I just told you, I played with a number of injuries.
So does just about everybody.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Because I played with a broken heart for 10 years.
But I gave you a reason.
That is true. I agree with. I second that emotion.
Right, but you mentioned me leading the league in drops a couple of times, and I basically gave you the explanation as to why that was.
Okay, I got it. Let's move on to Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
At first, you were roommate, soulmate with Donovan McNabb. And I know Donovan very well. I've had conversations with him about why it all fell apart. But it really, really fell apart, and it split apart the Eagles ultimately. You versus Donovan McNabb. I know you had issues with contracts, and you felt he didn't support you. He was too much of a company man. Your thoughts?
Well, my thing is, I came there for one reason only. They wanted me to help them get beyond the NFC Championship, in which they had done it and tried it four times in a row.
I agree.
They felt that I was the missing piece.
You were.
I got there, for whatever reason, Donovan didn't like the way the city embraced me, the way that those fans loved me.
Jealousy, resentment?
To have a stadium embrace me the way that they did on game day, I'm sure that probably did rub him the wrong way. But that had nothing to do with me. That was personal. But again, you're going off what people and what happened in San Francisco. You let that filter into some of the things that happened in Philly, which honestly...
No, I'm not. It's a new world, new day. You had a fresh start. I thought it was going to be a great start over for you.
And it was. I have no idea what happened, but at the end of the day, I knew that I did my part. I was a good teammate in that locker room. And again, I'm going to manage by the facts, because I'm not going to let you attack my character without facts.
Okay.
So we mentioned Philly. I have a quote right here from the guy Greg Lewis. Greg Lewis spoke highly of Owens, both a teammate and as a person, back in 2006 after his departure from the Eagles. This is Greg now. I have talked to Owens on and off the field this season. Not this week. He was at my wedding in Chicago this offseason.
Okay.
To me, he's a good person. Some people may try to make it out more than what it is, but maybe not willing to deal with him in certain situations. I mean, everybody has his fault. Nobody's perfect. He has been great to me, and I don't have anything wrong with him.
Okay. I heard that from a whole lot of teammates.
So why do you feel like I disrupted anything in Philly?
I had the chance, the opportunity to play with T in Cincinnati for a year.
You did?
And I don't know if it was because we had a relationship outside of football as good friends, outside the game of football, but what I was able to witness as a teammate when it came to work and practice was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
No doubt. I don't doubt it at all.
It was refreshing to see the person that played in,
Okay.
the person that played in Philly, San Francisco, and I understood the way the numbers look at the end of the day. After watching them practice and watching them play, I understand where everything came from. You know, all the rumblings of bad teammate and all that stuff, I have no idea where it came from or how it came about, because my time, even though it was short-lived with him in Cincinnati, was awesome.
Okay.
And the thing is, in Philly, could I have done some things different? Absolutely. I wish I was in a more of a mature mindset that I am now, to have communicated more so with management or Donovan for that matter. I wish we could have been men to work it out. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. Like I said, it didn't have anything. I was not jealous of Donovan. I wasn't envy of Donovan. Anything. People in that locker room, when I got there, they pulled me to the side. Just like you said, you had guys pull you to the side. I've had players that pull me to the side, like, dude, you're nothing like I thought you were, or what the media said you to be. And so for me, I've had to live with that throughout the course of my career. But at the same time, I didn't allow that to deter who I was and what I did on the football field.
To sum up Donovan McNabb, are you saying it was more his fault than yours?
I would say that it's not my fault. It wasn't. I will take some blame, but it really wasn't to the point that where everybody felt like I divided that locker room. We're grown men.
Okay, but remember, it degenerated to the point that Hugh Douglas wanted to fight you, and you did get into a little bit of a skirmish in the locker room.
Right, because he was siding with Donovan.
Okay.
Those are buddy. Like, I don't have anything to do with that, but I'm not going to let anybody run me over.
No.
You know what I mean? So if somebody attacks me, then yeah, I'm going to stand up for
Chad,
myself.
that's pretty serious business when it gets to the fight level, where one teammate is fighting for another.
First of all, I was rehabbing.
I know you
I was
were.
in the HydroWorks pool.
Right.
He came in there at me. He shouldn't have never even been in there, first of all.
You know what? Fights is something that's been going on in NFL locker rooms for years. It happens. You know, people getting crossed, people getting... Like, I had 2 fights with T.O. I beat T.O. up twice. You know, I regret it. I regret what I did to him.
I do not believe you beat him up twice.
No, seriously.
Because I don't think you're capable of beating him up.
Don't let that side fool you. That's nothing. Listen, no, I regret what I did to him. But, you know, people go through their issues. You know, people go through the issues, but all I can say, I didn't play on any of these other teams but T.O. I can only speak on my part and the time that I spent with him. He was cool. You know, everybody had all these bad things to say about him. The only thing, he looked funny. That's about the only thing I can say that's wrong with him. Other than that, he's a great football player. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, you can even go look at that. Like I said, I didn't have anything against Donovan. Again, it got to the point to where I think he knew the problems that I had, and I think he used that against me to the point it got to a point of disrespect. When he cursed me out in the huddle, that was the straw for me.
In the huddle?
Yeah, in the huddle.
Was it Super Bowl or?
No. This was like during the course of the season. And I tried to be man about the situation because I knew what had happened in San Francisco. I went to him and tried to address him like, yo, I understand what may be going on, but don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean? And from that point on, things just went downhill.
Okay.
And I tried to address him man to man. And whether he accepted it, that's on him. So from that point on, things just kind of went downhill. But again, I didn't allow that to deter what I was there for. And that was to help the team get beyond the NFC Championship that they didn't reach 4 times in a row and get to the Super Bowl.
But it got so bad that after the Super Bowl loss to New England, 24-21, you said, and it was a little cryptic, but you said I wasn't the one who got tired.
No.
Right?
Freddie or Hank Fraley had mentioned that in an interview. And I reiterated what they said to the guy that was interviewing me. That's what happened. I never sparked that conversation.
Okay.
And I said...
Were you referring to Donovan?
Everybody knew that's what Hank and Freddie was talking about. So if anybody should have been out of shape, it should have been me or throwing up in the huddle. I hadn't practiced consistently for like 6.5, 7 weeks. I did what I did to help win the game.
Okay, we got it. Okay, so you end up in Philadelphia getting suspended, then deactivated for the rest of your time. Not a pretty ending to what could have been a fairy tale story, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I wish things could have ended differently.
Okay.
But it didn't.
Okay. Now, Jerry Jones says, against Bill Parcells' best wishes, which might have doomed you from the start. I don't think Bill wanted you there from the start. Did you get that sense?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Once I got there, initially I didn't.
Okay. And then there was a developing issue, as I was told, between you and Todd Haley, your receivers coach, over how many times Tony Romo was throwing to Jason Witten. Am I right about that, or am I exaggerating that?
Well, first of all, we had a policy where things are supposed to be kept in-house. Might I remind you, this is my third team. So don't think that I'm an idiot to know that I've already had two stops and I've had issues. So anything that happens internally from here going forward, I felt like it should have been between us. But somehow, some reason, the things that were talked about amongst us got outside of that locker room, and it wasn't through me. So if there were issues with our offense, and I'm trying to make our offense better, not necessarily to get me the ball, but when there are guys running down the seam open and he's throwing in double coverage, even if it's in practice or games, then I'm trying to address the issue to where the mindset would be, let's make the team better. And these are things that people don't know about me. And I have players and teammates that will tell you that's what happened. I was trying to address the issue to get the team better. It wasn't necessarily for me to get the ball because I understood my place as a #1 receiver. I can do it by blocking, I can do it by catching, and I can also do it by being a decoy. So if we're losing games because certain balls are not going in the right direction, then as a leader, as I thought I was being in that locker room and things are in-house, then that was a problem for me.
Okay, so if we add all this up that we just talked through, 3 straight teams, your first 3 teams, all of them very good teams with Super Bowl hopes. Could we not add it all up to say that was conduct detrimental to winning for those 3 teams?
No, because I think people already had preconceived notions that I already had problems, so they wanted to compound that with any little incident. Any incident that happened, they wanted to put it on me because they couldn't take it. Other than that, like I said, I was doing what I was supposed to do. Again, like I said, I understood the situation going from San Francisco to Philly. Going to Dallas, yeah, I felt like, I wanted to right the ship. I didn't want to be labeled as that guy, that constantly keep wrecking teams. So if I'm trying to do the right things and then coaches or whomever already have their preconceived notions about me, they're going to compound that to the slightest little thing that goes wrong, then I'm going to be used as a scapegoat. Again, I have some quotes from Greg Ellis, too, that said he had no problems with me either.
I got it.
I didn't have any problems. All I did was have fun and love people. That's it.
You know what? I will buy that. You did have fun and you did love people and you still do.
Yeah.
So let me wrap this up by saying I'm going to bet that next year you get voted into the Hall of Fame in your second try. And if you do, I will be just fine with that.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I already knew it going in, Skip. My family, I talk to the people that are close to me, they'll tell you. I probably could have cared less. I probably would have been more...
I don't believe that. I think it stung you.
No. Trust me. I already knew it was going to happen. I probably would have been more...
Well, you should have known because of what we just talked about. That's what the voters thought.
Right, because you have a voice that influenced the voters.
No,
you may not have to talk. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to personally talk to them.
Well, you're giving them a lot of power.
They watch TV just like everybody else does. But I already, like I said, I probably would have been more surprised had I made it. But at the end of the day, the system is flawed. And anybody over at Pro Hall of Fame, they should be ashamed at the way this process is going.
It's subjective, but I don't think it's flawed. I don't know if there's a better way.
Are you serious? I'm getting judged by pencil pushers, by negating my stats?
I think they've done a pretty good job over the years.
Are you serious?
Except for Charles Haley. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Terrell, I appreciate you coming here today, giving your voice. I feel like we all learned a lot, and you will be in the Hall of Fame. We know that will happen. And Chad, you are...
I already inducted myself.
You already inducted yourself. You're good. You're also in the entertainment
You did it
Hall
on the
of Fame.
sideline during a Monday night game.
I don't want to play the waiting. I don't want to go through the process. I don't want to play the waiting game.
Yes,
right?
I'm mad. I'm mad about that. You're in and I'm not.
Yeah, that's true.
And Chad loves everyone.
And next time, you get to talk more. How about that?
Okay, talk about, all this. I'm just here like decoration.
All right.
That's what you are.
Tio, you're staying with us, but we're going to move on to other sports topics. Obviously, you're a big sports fan. Can't wait for your insight. The fallout on Cam Newton after the Super Bowl. And be sure to check with us on Instagram right now. There's more hot topics that we'll get into with Terrell in just a bit. Stay here. Chad, thank you.